So who are the invincible dads? The invincible fathers, these are when we have the tourists or the outsiders that come to Africa as a country, they do their tourist visits, and then they have child in Africa, and then they go back to their own country and they never reach out to the mother. And that child will never see their dad ever. Those fathers, they are called the invincible fathers.
Hi, lovers, and welcome back to another episode of Emo Talk Show. I am your host, Tulia Mlimba. If you don't already know that, I swear we have a problem. Because what is your problem? Please now come and subscribe, become part of the family. You know how it goes, you know how this algorithm works. So please subscribe to the channel, become part of the family, and share this episode with someone else so that you're not watching it alone. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest today, coming all the way from Gambia, you guys. Look at me traveling the African continent. Anyways, my guest today is from Gambia, and I'd like him to introduce himself and some of the values that he holds dear.
Yes, my name is Keba Sane. I am a father, I'm a husband, and also I am an IT manager, as well as I create content online, and also I'm a motivational speaker. Thank you so much,
Perfect.
Tulia, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I'm so glad that we could finally make this work. You guys, we've been planning this episode for over a year. So when we tell you that these things sometimes are hard to put together, they really are. But finally, today we can have this conversation. And the conversation we're holding today is on the fatherless epidemic, or on absentee fathers, and altogether just absent parents. But today we'd like to focus on fathers because they play a big, big role in our society. And so because fathers are major influencers in the lives of their children, whether it be females or males, their absence enhances delinquent behaviors in our children, and most especially teenagers. So today we've come to talk about it and to see where those stem from, but how we can help parents overcome that hurdle. So today I would like to ask you, the first question I'd really like to ask is, what are some of your values as a parent? Because the reason you are the person I called here is because I see you online and I see how present you are in the life of your daughter, and it inspires me. It really does. I appreciate that there is a man out there in the life of a daughter who will soon become a woman. So what are some of those values that you hold dear to your heart that makes you do the things that you do?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
For me, growing up, coming from a traditional background, I grew up in a traditional household. So my father was not the way he did his fatherhood style is different from the way I'm doing mine.
Yes.
Because first of all, before we go into that, I would like to separate the difference between traditional marriage and also a modern marriage. So a traditional marriage is, when you have only one source of income, and then the husband or the father is the main provider and the protector, and he take care of the household. So, and then the wife or the mother stays home, take care of the kids, and then she's the homemaker. So now, in our time, the modern marriage, this is where you have two sources of income coming to the house, meaning both parents are working. So both parents are working, they have two incomes in the house, and also the responsibilities in the household duties are also divided. Okay. So for me, growing up as a child, watching my father, he was not cooking. I never see my father cook anything in the house. My father wasn't cooking. And then also he was not changing kids' diapers. He would be holding the child. If the child wet, themselves, he would say, "Go to your mom to clean it up." So my mom will do that, and then you can go back to your dad, right? So see, being in that kind of environment, and also me as a child doing track and field from elementary to middle school to high school, my father was not involved in my tracks because he was busy trying to make ends meet and provide for the family.
Yes.
Because as a traditional husband, those are his main value, to provide and to protect, to make sure
That's his job.
exactly, to make sure the family have their provision. So because of that, he was lacking the opportunity cost to spend time with the family.
Yeah.
So for me, growing up now as an adult, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I have my child, my daughter. I was like, I'm going to change that narrative a little bit. So I started to involve in my child's life. For example, I would take Layla, her name is Layla. I would take Layla to the gym with me. You know, we go to the gym, work out together. Sometimes we go to the track and field, we run over there, or we go to the soccer field. We do all that. Those are the things that I wanted to do. And
Yeah.
then sometimes we do the things that that she wanted to do, like we go to the park. You know, we go play some games. You know, we do things that she enjoyed doing. She called me her best friend, and she's my best friend.
Oh, that
And
is
because,
so sweet.
I know, and because we are best friends, so we spend time
Together.
You know, so that's why you have been seeing my contents. I spend a lot of time with Layla. We go out, you know, we do all those father fun stuff. And I say that to say, because I see a lot of my friends back home, they were not involved in their kids' life.
Yeah.
So I was like, if there's a way I can share this message out there to put on my status or on my social media platform, so young men like my age, then they see that video, things that I'm doing with my
They
daughter,
get inspired.
they get inspired and they can do the
Yeah.
same thing. You don't have to be a father whereby when your kids sees you, they saw you, they just hide. You know?
They're afraid.
Yeah,
They're
they're
scared.
afraid. So you want to be
Yeah.
like, when you open the door, they just roast you. And that's the kind of father I wanted to be. Those are my value. So and one of the things to do that is to spend time with the kids and then do activities indoors and outdoors with them, you know.
So you've touched you've touched on some factors that influences like fathers being absent in their children's life. Can you please expand on like how modern living styles have really changed or evolved the African traditional role of marriage? Because now we are seeing, because of urbanization, we're seeing a change in the way that women interact with their children, the way men interact with their children. What are some other factors that have really caused that to become a thing?
You know, because in this generation now, time has changed, right? Time has changed. Because before, when we talk about raising kids, we only think only women do that. So for us as fathers, you know, we are just there.
Yeah.
We are just there. But in reality, you know, the urbanization, you know, people moving from the rural area, coming to the city and leaving their kids behind, thinking that only the mother is the one responsible
take
for
care
take
of
care of
them.
the kids back
Yeah.
there. So we forget the fact that, you know, it takes the village to raise a child, including the father.
Yes.
So you are also part of that package to go home and also make sure you spend time with the family and then especially, you know, your kids.
Yeah.
Because if any child lack that fatherhood figure in their life, it affects them tremendously in their life.
Yes.
You know, according to the National Fatherhood Initiative reports, they said that 43% of the children that have their fathers involved in their life, they have A's in their classrooms than those who did not. And then the opposite is true. If you don't have any father figure in your life or any father in your life that's going to motivate you, encourage you to do the things you can do in the world of academia, in the society, if you lack that, it's going to affect the child tremendously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things like that, it encourages all of us as fathers, you know, to make sure we can do better. It's not only the responsibility of the woman to
Yeah.
do that.
I think some other things coming from an African background, right? Polygamy is very much allowed in almost all African cultures. You know, a man is married to multiple women. That man could have 10, 12, 24 children. You
Yeah.
know, how can one father be able to nurture 24 children? And especially when considering that a man has all these children that he has to nurture, how can he be in the lives of 10, 20 kids from two different wives or four different wives? It just depends. Is this married man married to one woman, two women, three women? How many children do they have? So that has also contributed in fathers being absent and being allowed to be absent because the traditional African gender roles do not really allow a space for a man to really be present. You know, a man is there to make the money. They make the money and that's it. And that's acceptable. But now, because of urbanization and or maybe like displacement because of wars, maybe a father stayed back and they were fighting in the war. They were in the military and the family had to flee. That father is gone now, and that kid is left without a father figure in the home. That is also attributed to that. And now you're raising kids in the community who have no father figures. Now, I'd like to talk about the impact that makes in in a child's life. You've already brought a report here that like 43% of children whose fathers are present in their life have A's in their classes. They probably don't have behavior issues too. So, what are some factors? What are some effects that we see in children without fathers in their lives?
Yes, that's a very good question, Tulia. And then, but first of all, when we say fatherless epidemic, right? So when we say fatherless, we don't mean the child don't have a father. Every child that is born into this world, they have a father.
Yes.
Okay? We just have different types of fathers. So we have what we call the hollow fathers. The hollow fathers, these are fathers that are home, but they're emotionally disconnected. So we have the peekaboo fathers.
Ooh.
The peekaboo fathers, these are fathers that are constantly
In and out.
of the child's life. They are constantly in and out. They are not stable there. We also have what we call the angel dads, right?
Angel dads.
So the angel dad, these are the fathers that passed away. So I have an angel father, and I'm sure you also have an angel father. So angel fathers, these are our beautiful fathers that passed away.
Yeah.
So we have the hide and seek fathers. The hide and seek father, these are the kind of fathers whereby the child, they're asking their mom, is my father coming home tonight? Is my father going to pick me up today? When is my father coming? They never saw up.
These are the inconsistent fathers.
Yes, they never saw up in the kid's life. And then you also have what we call the invincible dads. So who are the invincible dads? The invincible fathers, these are when we have the tourists or the outsiders that come to Africa as a country, they do their tourist visits, and then they have child in Africa. And then they go back to their own country and they never reach out to the mother. And that child will never see their dad ever. Those fathers, they are called the invincible fathers. We have kids back home in my country that are like, they are mixed kids, but they don't know who their father is because they have the invincible father. They come in, they leave, they never come back.
So like a white man will come,
exactly,
impregnate a woman back home,
exactly,
and then leave and never come back.
They disconnected, and now that child will born and without a father. Their fathers are invincible fathers. So now, you touched a little bit about polygamous, the polygamous relationship. I came from a household of polygamous relationships. Okay, my father may his soul rest in peace, and may Allah preserve my mother. So my father, he always has 2 wives in my whole entire life. I came from a polygamous family, traditional relationship. Okay, so but. And then my father, my mother, they had 8 children. 3 of them passed away, and then 5 of us were in the house. So raising them, it was not a problem because we are all in the same household settings. Now, where I see a problem is when you have kids outside of marriage, out of wedlock, and you have in a polygamous relationships whereby you are denying that you are the father of those kids. That is the problem. Because
you deny those children the right to have their father in their lives.
Exactly. So this is why fatherless comes in, because you are not there. You disappear. You make the girl pregnant, and she said, I'm pregnant, and you say, well, it's not me. I'm not the father. Because you are busy.
I'm not the father.
I'm not the father. So that's how we having, these many kids out there without a father. And also you mentioned about the war. We have wars and conflict. These are also contributed a lot in fatherless epidemic in Africa. For example, if you look at the war in Liberia, the civil war in Liberia. I don't know what was civil about it, but it wasn't civil. Many men died. It took about 7 years, 7 months, before that war to stop. And the war in Uganda, Rwanda, and many other African countries with the conflict. So many men died, and they left a lot of children behind.
Yeah.
So migration and urbanization is also another factor in the fatherless epidemic. For example, in my country, we call it backway. When young men travel through the Mediterranean Sea to go to Europe, so they either go to Spain, to be specific, or Italy. And then when they take the boat usually is overloaded. And then when the boat capsizes, these men will drown because they don't know how to swim. So because they will drown, they didn't make it to Europe, neither Africa. They will
And
leave.
their families don't even know
Exactly.
what happened to them.
Yes. And then their kids that they left behind, they become orphans, which means they have become fatherless. They will not have their father figure in their life. So that's another major contribution to the fatherless epidemic in Africa.
It's quite a lot, and I think like you've shed some really good light on it. And so, on this show we like to talk about solutions, and I've brought Keba here because I feel like you could help a lot of young men and even a lot of young women. I had a friend in college that would always say, I couldn't marry a woman like my mother because my mother allowed a lot of things to pass by. Now, he wasn't saying that his mother was a bad mother. He was saying that his mother let a lot of things just slide. She would never speak up about it. She would never do anything. The father would, sort of like your dad, where a kid would wet themselves and they will pass them on to the mom for the mom to change. And he blames the mom for always accepting that. He feels like his mother should have stood up and told the father, we did this. It takes two to tango. It is not just I in this relationship. It is you and I. When I am cooking and the child is hungry, you should change. You should feed the kid. When I am cleaning and you are with the kid and they wet themselves, change their diaper. So he always would say, I wish that my mom would have stood up for herself. And so I feel like this conversation could help not just the young men, but also the young women. Now, what can young men do, right? How do we evolve as fathers and not become who our fathers were, right? And become something different, and that is okay. It is okay to adapt and become something different than your father. That doesn't mean that your father was a horrible father. It just means that he did what he could with what he had, and now you have the space to be available because your wife is working, right? And you are working. So you guys are making enough for you both to be able to make the time, separate time to be with your daughter. How do we do that?
Yes, and then that's a very good question, Tolia. For the young man, what he was experiencing, I think it comes down to tradition and marriage.
And Morden.
Because like in the traditional settings, the wife is submissive. They are submissive. So the way his mother was acting, it comes with the value of traditional marriage, and he was trying to use
A modern approach to insert into the traditional approach.
That's not gonna work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Say that again, because say it again, and it has to be clear, because I think we get this confused all the time.
Yeah, because a lot of time, this is what happens. A lot of time, many men, they will say, I want a traditional wife, but they don't want to be a traditional man. And
break my head.
And then the women out there, they said, I want a traditional husband, but they don't want to be a traditional wife. So to be a traditional wife, you have to be submissive.
Yes.
Okay, because there is only one source of income coming through, and whatever that guy's mom was doing, it was in line with that marriage, because that is what was expected.
Yes.
The father was doing everything. My father was never changing diapers. My father was never cooking in the house. My father was not
washing clothes.
Washing clothes. He wasn't feeding me. That does not make him any less of a father.
Right.
But because that is those are
the expectation of a traditional marriage.
Exactly. So now coming to the modern marriage. For me as a husband and then as a father in my household, I'm raising two beautiful daughters, right? And I'm raising them in a hybrid culture, in the culture of a traditional value and also in a culture of the modern value. I'm mixing because I'm a mix. I grew up from a traditional household and I'm a modern husband. So I have both values. So
I love this point. I love this
point. I'm gonna blend those two, right?
Yes.
So for me.
So how do you navigate that? How do you do it?
How I did it is I changed the narrative. Okay, I changed the narrative. I was like, okay, my father wasn't doing all of that for me when I was growing up, so I'm gonna do that to my kids. So when my daughter was born, Layla, I was the first person to even change her diaper before her mom did. I went there, I told the lady, I said, look, I never changed a diaper for a child before.
Show me.
Show me. She showed me once. From there, I'm still
You
doing it.
got it.
And it became the best part of me to change. And like, it's the most intimate
It's
side.
intimate
Yeah, it's the
time with
intimate
your
time for me. Yeah,
child.
I used to create a video changing Layla's diaper. I was changing her diaper, putting her together. I gave Layla, I gave her a bath. I gave her a shower. I take her to her doctor appointments. I cook. I fed her. I take her to the daycare. I drop her off. I pick her up. I do all that, right? Because my father wasn't doing all that. But that does not mean he was any less of a father. That was
Right.
because he was in a traditional relationship.
Setting. And a traditional setting too.
It is
Right?
expected, the gender roles, it is expected.
Yeah.
So for me, as the modern husband, I say, you know what? I want to have a relationship with my daughter when she grow up. And I don't want to wait until she is 16, 17 to
To
start that
start
relationship.
building.
You have to build that relationship from the foundation, from the
Yeah.
beginning of time. So
Yeah.
that is why I started building that with Layla. So even like from now, if she turned to 15, 16, we are still going to be best friends. We are still going to be close because we started our relationship from the beginning of time. And then
Yeah.
one thing that's also going to help, young men out there to build the relationship with their kids. When you go to the park with your kids, do not explain them the history of that environment. Ask them questions and listen. Let them talk to you. Let kids talk to you so you know them. But if you are the one who is busy telling them stories and about everything else, and they never have the chance to talk to you,
Right.
you will never know them.
You're not connecting
You are
with
not
them.
connecting with them. So you ask questions and then you listen and let them explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Tell them, what did you see? What do you think is going on? Do you like this place? Let them explain, and then
And
you
show
get to
their
know them.
emotion to you.
Exactly. You have to build that from the beginning. But
And that helps your child build emotional intelligence because
exactly.
you, as the father, you give them the space to
Space.
be who they are. So now there's no place in the world where they're going to walk in and feel afraid. You've boosted their confidence in themselves, their self-esteem. You've boosted that up. And now every room they walk into, they feel like they can speak up and own up the space.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
And then what I also do with my daughter, I always look at her, I say, Layla, you beautiful.
No.
Layla, you are very smart. You are very intelligent. Until one day, I don't know what her mom told her, and she told her mom, well, my dad says I'm beautiful. My dad says I'm very intelligent. So you have to use those words to your kids because
All the
this
good
is what they will
words.
remember. But if
Yeah.
you keep calling them, you are dumb, you don't know anything, and then they're going to label themselves that way. So you have to
Yes.
start labeling them that they are very smart, that they are very intelligent, that they are very beautiful, that they are very handsome,
You
they are very
have to give
hardworking.
them the space
Give
to
them
be
those
right
words,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
to go up. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do that, the words we use for the kids is going, they're going to live like that. So
And the world will trample on them. And you don't want the world to trample on your
exactly.
child.
So give them confidence.
I think that that's a very big point because growing up, I always say my father was the best man I ever experienced because my father taught me of self-worth. You know, I had a very short time with my father on this earth, but in that short period of time, he taught me that I was worthy, you know, that I should never see myself as less than. Okay? My father would speak life into me. I was very troublesome. And when I say this, people think I'm lying. I was very troublesome when I was little. But my dad, every time somebody would report me to my father, he would sit me down and he would tell me, Dada, you know that the world belongs to those who own it. Those who go out and seek for something better for themselves, those are the people who will be paying those who do not. So which end of the stick do you want to be on?
Very wise man.
Do you want to stay labeled or do you want to own up a name for yourself? And my dad would say those things to me. Up until this day, I look back and I'm like so grateful that he was there to tell me you are not trouble. You get yourself in trouble, but you are not trouble.
Exactly.
So when I see students now as an educator, and I see kids who embrace being the troublemaker of the class or being the troublemaker, like being known for their delinquency, I look at those kids and I know that they haven't had someone who has told them that you are important, you matter, and they're trying to find all these ways of being seen. So they have to make trouble to be seen because nobody has seen them.
Yep.
And if somebody has seen them, they haven't told them that they've seen them.
They're looking
They
for
haven't
attention.
made them feel like they have been seen. And now they're looking for all these ways. And I say it all the time, even for little girls, they're looking for validation in men because they've never had a man who validated them. I could never seek the validation of men because the one man that was meant to love me first loved me and loved me correctly. Right? And that's what Layla is going to be. She's going to be someone that will be asked out by a man and will look at the first red flag and flee. Turn the other side because guess what? She's been taught what it looks like to be embraced with love and care. And that's so big. So how does your wife take on to this? You know, how does this affect her? Do you see it being a positive in your marriage, or is it a negative thing in your marriage? Because sometimes there are these men who will say, but if I give too much love to my daughter now, my wife will be jealous, or like it will take away from what me and my wife are building. What can you say to the women who may be in the same predicament as yourself?
I think my wife, she's happy. You know,
Yes.
she's proud of the relationship that I have with my daughter, because from her background, she's also very close to her father. So she always wanted Layla to be close to her father.
Oh.
So she also helped nurture that. However, sometimes every now and then she gets jealous, especially if Layla called me her best friend. Sometimes she'll be recording Layla. So who is your best friend? And Layla will say, my dad is my, and then she'll cut the camera off.
Not cut off the camera.
Yeah, you know. So she is all for it, right? She's all for it because it's all about raising, your female daughter, that show them the love and the compassion, so that otherwise they will be looking for it out there. Me and Layla will go to a movie night, right?
Yeah.
We will go to a movie night. I will take her to a movie, the kids movie. So we will go there, and then I'm doing all this thing because I don't want tomorrow if a guy take her to a movie.
She's now shocked.
Yeah, she's not like,
She don't know what to do.
Yeah, she's not like, oh my God, this is my first time. I never been to a movie. So it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be like, oh yeah, my daddy took me to the movie. So that's not gonna be. And if somebody tell her, hey Layla, I love you, it's not gonna be a surprise because
Right.
she already knows she has been loved by her father. She has been loved by her mother. So we always tell her how much we loved you. So
Yeah.
it's Layla and Nasiba. So, and we also tell her you are a big sister. So we have love in our household, right? So my wife, she don't see any problem with that. Even now and then, she's jealous with our relationship. But
But
she's
do
all
you
for
feel
it.
like that has helped her? Like when Layla was a baby. Layla is the firstborn, by the way, guys. That's why we keep mentioning her. When Layla was born and like you took on that role of like being a supportive husband and being a present and nurturing father, how was her healing process from that first pregnancy? Because I know it takes a toll on women and like the healing process can be hard. So how did that like either like positively affect her or negatively affect her?
It has affected her in both sides, positive and negative. Post having a baby,
Postpartum.
postpartum, it also has its effects, right? But however, on the bright side, if when Layla was born, we were not living together. She was in Tennessee. I was going to the University of Northern Iowa, so I was not physically there. But my mother-in-law was there with her at the beginning. But whenever I'm present in there, I'm the one holding Layla, through the night, so she can sleep. I will have Layla so she can sleep, and then also we will have the milk in the bottle so I can feed Layla so she can take a break. So I will spend a lot of time with Layla. Sometimes I will put her in a stroller. We're gonna go outside, leave the room, so my wife can be have the quietness, without a baby crying. So I try to help as much as possible. But now that we all live in the same household settings, and then with our second child, I have more experience now.
Yes.
So I help a lot. I help a lot. Sometimes I can take both kids, to go outside so she can have some rest and get some sleep. But it's not easy. At the beginning, for me, it was rough because I cannot sleep at night. How they confuse the day and the night. So and in the morning I have to go to work. So I can really feel what the woman is going through if I'm going through that. So because of that, I can understand what they're going through.
You can be empathetic.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I try to help as much as possible.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I love just hearing that. And honestly speaking, like, I love seeing your content and I love seeing your relationship with your daughter. It's been such a beautiful impact on me because I see that it is possible and it gives me hope for the future. So what are some initiatives maybe on top of like your content creation? What are some other things that fathers like yourself can do to help young men become more active so that we can have more active fathers in our communities, specifically speaking the African and Black community in general?
Yes. I think it's networking.
Networking.
Networking. So
Okay.
if the community can have a society of fatherhoods, whereby fathers they will have like a network, and then fathers with experience they will share their experience with upcoming fathers, and then the new fathers, and then the fathers to be we say our experience that we have to take like take a braggadose to be a father.
To brag
You have to
about
brag.
it.
You have to brag about to be a father.
Yes.
It's not something we say. Oh, only women do that. No, you have to be proud to be a father. You have to brag about it. You have to go out there and represent, and also ask around. Not only to be a role model for the kids, but also a role model for the young people around the environment to encourage them that, hey, it's okay to be a good father. It's okay to be involved in the kids' life.
Yes.
It's okay to be part of that story while kids are growing up. So networking is a good thing, and also we should also talk about it. Because
Talk about
it. Because a lot of times the society, both men and women believe that only women raise kids. That's our mindset.
Yeah.
Until we change how we think and how we look at things, we make it okay that normalize it, that men should be involved in kids' life. Men should go out there, give them a bath, change their diapers, cook, feed them, get nasty, play games with them, have fun with your kids, go outdoors, indoors, whatever the case may be, but be part of those kids' life, and also, be proud about it. Be proud about it. Be proud to be a father. I am a proud father, and I'm so happy that I have, two beautiful girls, and raising them is the best job for me, in this
That
world.
is so sweet. That is so sweet. And I think another thing to add on that is friendships. Be careful who you surround yourself around. Bad association ruins good character. Associate with good people and you'll be a good person. So one of the advice that I would give out there that I'm starting to see, like my brother-in-law has a beautiful, beautiful family, and him and my sister have made such a beautiful family that like they're both actively working to be better every day, and to do that together with their children. Their children are able to see their flaws, they're able to see their growth, and it's such a wonderful experience to see and to witness, right? And so one thing I'd like to advise is that I'm not a parent myself, but I have friends that are parents. And one thing that we're always telling our friend that's a parent is to associate with other people who have children and who are doing similar things to you. Find people with similar values, or people who have the values that you would like to have and principles that you'd like to instill in your children. Hang out with those people. Get to networking, like you said. Talk to them and talk to them about how you're raising your kids and what you're doing. How has your parenting, how has that impacted your friends, even those back home? Do you get any comments? Do people ask you? Do people question? Are there like stigmas thrown at you, or what do you see in the community? What are people's reaction towards your the way you are upbringing your children?
You know, the way people, when they see like how you saw my contents online, you know, people are so proud, and I think the
And surprise, maybe even.
yes, and I think and I think the vast majority of the people back home that were so surprised are the women. The women are like, oh my God, I wish more guys are doing this. You know, this
Yes.
that was it was all positive. I haven't received any negative about that,
Comments. Uh-huh.
negative comments or anything whatsoever. It was all positive. And then women were always telling me on my DM, man, I wish we have more guys like that, you know.
No.
Especially when I'm making my daughter's hair in the morning, you know,
No.
put her hair together, getting her ready to go to school. So there is some point in life I say, you know what, I'm gonna go to YouTube and learn how to braid hair, you know. Since I'm having girls, it's better I know how to do, you know what I'm saying, to do their hair.
Yes.
Because that's also gonna be another intimate, you know,
Moment.
moment for me and them, you know. But the majority is positive. And in the guys, they look at it, African men, they have that ego, you know. They will
Yes.
not come out and say, man, I want to do this, but they really want to do it, right? So I see some guys who were inspired the way, my relationship with my daughter. They will send me a message, they will be like, oh my God, I love your relationship with your daughter.
Yes.
You know, I love it. People loved it, but they are not used to it.
Yes.
It's like
It's new.
it's new to them, you know. So
Yeah.
I just try to make it simple and easy, and you can still do it. If I can do it,
You
anybody
can.
can do it. So
Yeah.
you just have to be a proud father. And one of my brother, his name is Baba Sane. He is also, we are the same age group. He's also so involved back home, you know. So I'll be talking to him. His wife had a baby like last year, so he'll be holding the baby through the night while the wife is sleeping, and he's also involved in changing diapers and do all that. So he's a good modern father out there, and I know there are so many of them out there, but we still have a lot more that are behind. We just have to encourage them to make them understand that it's okay, to show your fatherhoodness, it's okay to show your
Yes.
fatherhood power, So
Yeah.
come out there, be a powerful father, be so involved.
And
Because
be present.
be present. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, having a kid is not easy, it's easy, But to be a real father,
Hallelujah.
that is the hardest part.
Hasn't say that again. Anybody can have a child, but not all those who have children have the capability
To stick around and make
and
sure they are
raise
involved.
those children. And that goes for mothers too. Just because you can have a child doesn't mean you can parent them. To have a child and to parent are two opposite things, very, very separated. Thank you so much, Keba. I really appreciate this conversation. I really appreciate this conversation. One last thing I think that people should know is that, like, if you are one of these fathers that's like Keba and you're doing all the things and you're doing your best, show it. Show off. Like he said, be proud. Show off because representation matters. If all we get to see is the horrible fathers and the baby mamas that come online and talk about their shitty fathers, shitty baby dads, we haven't been fair. So the fathers that are doing the thing, the women who have the fathers that are doing the thing, record your husband, post it online. Everybody's posting their nonsense now. Come and post your own so that people can see that there are men out here that are doing the thing, being responsible fathers, being active in the lives of their children. Show off. It is okay. It is okay. So, with that being said, is there any other thing you'd like to say to our viewers?
Yes. One thing I would like to say, us as a father, a lot of time, when we involve in our kids' life at school, it's only when something goes wrong. When something goes wrong with the teacher or at the school issue, then the father comes to the school with anger. So they only see the father angry, at the time. I think it's about time, we change the narrative, because it has been far too long for the fathers only saw when there is a problem.
When they're just disciplinarians.
Exactly. So we have to be involved, when there is no problem. You have to involve, take the kids to school, pick them up, drop them off, take them to the daycare, pick them up, drop them off. go to their doctor's appointments, you know, take them to the movie, spend time with them, hang out with them. Be a proud father, you know, be there for your kids. Love them. They say if you love me, you got to show me. You know, for us, me growing up as a father, my father was not telling me how much he loved me. He showed me how much he loved me. He was a beautiful father in my life. He made me the man I am today.
Yes.
You know, he has his criterias, you know.
He's got flaws.
You know, all that. Everybody have that. But he was a wonderful father. He raised me to be the man I am today. Amen. And I was raised in a traditional household settings. And now, for us, the modern husbands, if you are from a traditional household, you can always blend the two. It's okay to blend the two.
It's okay to be hybrid.
Yeah, because you can raise your kid to respect elders. If your kid is respecting elders, that's a traditional value.
Right.
You know, so if the kids, you know, when adults are talking, they don't have to be screaming or making noise. Those are traditional values. So we just incorporate that in there, and also in the modern value, you have to be present. You have to be present, because a lot of time, especially if you have a female child, they say a lot of parents who are not involved in their kids' life, it's more likely for your kid to be dropped out of high school, or even school in general, and it's more likely to drop out of. They will not make it to college. If you go to Gambia, voicegambia.com, there's a single mother scheme. They did the research. So in their research, 75% of the boys on the street in the Gambia, they came from a household of fatherless children, fatherless homes. So so because of that, most of these fatherless kids, they spend time on the street and they commit crimes. And because of that, they are more likely to
end up in jail.
Prison. Yes, because they are free. There is no repercussion of what they do on the street. For me, growing up, if I think about doing something bad outside, I'm like, my dad is going to kill me. So because of that, I don't do anything stupid. But if you don't have any father figure at home, then there is no repercussion for what it is you will be doing on the street, and you don't care.
Yeah.
And it's going to harm you, you know. So for us, as new fathers, as the modern fathers, you know, we can do this if we work hard and we try to spend time and change the narrative.
Amen to that. Thank you so, so much. You guys, you heard it from Kiba. Please, let's do better. We've got to do better because it matters. Before we leave, if you could just tell us your social medias so that people can follow you and see your fatherhood journey, because I think it's such a beautiful thing to see, and content like yours matters. Yeah.
Yes. So my Instagram is Keba, KEBBA _ SBI. That's my nickname. That's my Instagram, and I think it's the same for my TikTok. However, I don't have those contents on my social media Instagram. I only use it for my WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp, I know. We need to get it out there. We need to get it out there somehow.
I just put it on WhatsApp for privacy, you know.
Yeah.
But so those two are my social media platforms.
All right. Thank you so much for coming, and to you, I say thank you for coming in and tuning into this episode. You matter. You're important. So keep coming back and getting more from our content. We aim to get a better African diaspora community. And so with us and with you, we can do it together. Comment below anything that you thought of while listening to this or watching this. And also share this with somebody that you love, and subscribe if this is your first time here. We'd love to have you as part of the family. And please go and follow us on all of our other social media platforms. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Do subscribe. It is your host again, Talia. Come back again. Much love.
Ondaba ikamba teto chenga chaba jamikaba lipo kwetu tabona babya ikamba nabake ni bana hola tabaki Osaka tona anja mpaka to Osaka toko bole abole to opaka toto chena make mabichaka betuto abo wa makala tole moba wa boba